Think making more money makes you rich? Think again. Welcome to Finances with Finn, where we expose money mistakes before.
Hey everyone, I'm Finn, and welcome to this explainer. You know, we've all heard that famous golden rule of personal finance. It's shouted from the mountaintops by every financial guru out there. Save 3 to 6 months of expenses. It's literally in every article on every app. But right off the bat, we're going to see that this widely accepted advice is actually dangerously flawed. For a huge chunk of people, following that classic advice is just completely wrong. So, is 3 to 6 months of savings actually enough? Well, that is the multi-thousand-dollar question we're answering today. I call this a lazy one-size-fits-all rule because, frankly, it totally ignores the reality of how we actually live. For some of you listening, saving just 3 months of expenses is dangerously too little. You are vastly underprotected. And for others, it sounds like so much money that you just feel overwhelmed and you never even start. We're going to completely dismantle all of that today. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll bust the lazy savings myth. Second, we're going to meet the 4 gremlins. Third, we'll calculate your exact number using the thin formula. Fourth, we'll talk about where this money should actually live. And finally, we'll cover 3 massive fund red flags. Okay, part 1, the lazy savings myth. Let's dive right in and tear down this widely accepted truth of standard savings targets with a little enthusiastic myth-busting. Thinking about person A versus person B brilliantly illustrates why a one-size-fits-all savings target makes absolutely no sense. Take person A. She's a government employee, lives in a dual-income household, has 0 kids, is perfectly healthy, and lives super close to family. If she loses her job, her partner's income still covers the baseline bills, right? Now look at person B. He's a freelance contractor, relies entirely on a single income, has 2 kids, a mortgage, and works in a super specialized industry where job hunts can easily take 8 months. Telling both of these people to save 3 to 6 months is literally like prescribing everyone on earth a size 9 shoe. Person A would be oversaving, locking up money that could be invested in growing. Meanwhile, person B would be dangerously underprotected because 6 months might not even cover a single job search for him. Moving right along to part 2, meet the 4 gremlins. The absolute most crucial point here is that your emergency fund needs to be built around your specific risks. But what exactly are we risking? Well, these are the inevitable financial disasters that hit everyone eventually. I call them our 4 gremlins. Statistically, one of these 4 gremlins is absolutely going to knock on your door. First up, job loss, the big one, obviously. Unemployment spells often run 3 to 6 months, sometimes way longer for senior or specialized roles. Second, medical emergencies. This could be an urgent dental crown or a surprise hospital bill that runs into the thousands. Third, your car. A transmission or a clutch failure, that runs anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000. And let me tell you, your car does not care if you're having a bad month. Fourth, the home. Your boiler dies in the dead of January or your fridge completely gives out in the middle of a massive summer heat wave. Appliances are incredibly dramatic like that, and they demand cash instantly. Now notice this staggering number, 24%. Without a cash cushion, every single one of those 4 gremlins forces you to put that emergency straight onto a credit card, which usually sits at around 24% interest. Think about that. You aren't just one emergency away from trouble, you are one emergency away from years of trouble. The whole goal of an emergency fund isn't pessimism. The goal is to make emergencies totally boring. When the boiler breaks, it should just be an annoyance, not a multi-year financial disaster. Which brings us to part 3, the Finn formula. So, how do we find out exactly what you need to make your emergencies boring? Let me introduce your ultimate weapon, the Finn formula. This is a highly personalized approach to calculating your true emergency number. There are exactly 3 steps to this formula, and we're actually going to do the math together right now. Step 1 is finding your bare bones month. Step 2 is taking the risk quiz to find your multiplier, and step 3 is simply multiplying the 2. Grab a pen or pull up the calculator on your phone because this is about to change how you look at your savings. Step 1, your bare bones month. Let's be crystal clear here. This is not your normal spending. We're not talking about restaurants, multiple streaming subscriptions, or fun money. This is crisis mode. We are talking survival essentials only. Rent or your mortgage, basic utilities, groceries, essential insurance, minimum debt payments, transport to get to work, and a cheap phone plan. For most folks, this lands at roughly 70% of their normal spending. So, just as an example, if your normal monthly spend is $4,000, your bare bones month might be around $2,800, okay? Keep that bare bones number locked in your head. Step 2, the risk quiz.
Seriously, feel free to pause this explainer right now so we can actually calculate your personal risk multiplier together. Ready? Everyone starts with a base score of 3. Now let's adjust. Are you a single income household? Add 1. Do you have kids or dependents? Add 1. Do you have health conditions with recurring costs or maybe an aging car or home? Add 1 for each of those. Are you a freelancer, a contractor, or a commission-based worker? Add 2. On the flip side, if you have a rock-solid, super stable job with a dual income and a strong safety net, subtract 1. Cap your final score somewhere between 3 and 9. That single digit? That is your highly personalized risk multiplier.
Step 3. Multiply. Let's look at how this builds on our earlier example. For person A, the government employee, her bare bones month is $2,500. Her risk multiplier is a 3. Multiply them and her target is $7,500. Boom. Now look at person B, the freelancer with kids. His bare bones month is $3,200, but his risk multiplier is an 8. So his target is $25,600. The math proves that neither of them needed a generic, lazy 3 to 6 months. They needed a targeted sum built entirely around their own unique life risks. Both of these answers are correct. All right, part 4, where money should live. Okay, keeping your newly calculated, perfectly personalized fund in the wrong place completely defeats the purpose of everything we just did. Think of your options as a liquidity ladder. You've got the physical mattress at the absolute bottom, then checking, then standard savings, then a high-yield savings account glowing right there in the middle, and finally a locked safe at the very top representing invested money. Your emergency fund has 2 critical jobs. It has to be there instantly when you need it, and it absolutely cannot shrink. That glowing middle step, the high-yield savings account, or HYSA, is the undisputed winner here. It offers instant access, it's government-insured so it's incredibly safe, and most importantly, it pays you real interest while it just sits there waiting. Your financial airbag is basically earning you rent. But I need to plant a firm red flag here on where your money should never, ever be. First, not in your everyday checking account. Money you can see sitting right next to your grocery and fun money inevitably becomes spending money. Visibility is erosion. Your emergency fund needs friction. It needs to be in a separate account, ideally at a completely separate bank so you aren't tempted. Second, not invested in the stock market. I know, the market averages higher returns, but emergencies and market crashes are basically best friends. Layoffs heavily cluster during economic recessions, which is the exact same time your investment portfolio might be down 30%. Having to pull your money out of the absolute bottom of the market just to pay rent? That is exactly how a bad month turns into a bad decade. Don't do it. Now, if your fin formula number just gave you a mild panic attack, take a breath. You do not build this overnight. Here is a timeline to get there without totally stressing out. Step 1 is the fast sprint. Build a $1,000 starter fund as quickly as humanly possible. Sell some clutter, maybe pause your investing for just a month, cancel those old subscriptions. $1,000 actually handles a massive portion of everyday gremlins like a toothache or a busted tire. Step 2, automate the climb. Slice off a percentage of your paycheck, let's say 20%, and automate it to transfer on payday. No willpower required, just good architecture. Step 3 is the windfall rule. Anytime you get surprise money, a tax refund, a bonus at work, birthday cash, split it right down the middle. 50% goes to the fun you want, and 50% goes to the fun you need. Keeping half to enjoy keeps you sane and human. Forcing 100% into savings just makes you want to quit. And finally, part 5, 3 fund red flags. Even with the perfect number and the perfect account, there are 3 catastrophic warning signs that can totally ruin a well-built emergency fund. Let's plant some red flags on these terrible financial behaviors right now so you avoid them. Flag 1, raiding the vault for non-emergencies. Guys, a flash sale on a giant TV is not an emergency. A holiday trip is not an emergency. If it's not unexpected, necessary, and urgent, the vault stays shut. Flag 2, parking it in everyday checking. We just covered this. Go move it to a high-yield savings account tonight. And flag 3, honestly the worst of them all, claiming your credit card is your emergency fund. That is not a fund, that is a pre-approved crisis waiting to happen. A credit card limit can be slashed by the bank at literally any time, usually during a recession right when you need it the most. Borrowed money at 24% interest is tossing gasoline onto a fire, not a fire extinguisher. So I'm leaving you with a challenge. What is your true risk multiplier? Run the fin formula. Find that bare bones month, take the risk quiz, and multiply them to find your exact, highly personalized target. Write it down right now.
The simple truth is, the gremlins are out there and emergencies are absolutely coming either way. But you get to decide right now by calculating and building this fund whether that emergency is going to be a minor plot twist in your week or a multi-year catastrophe. Spot the red flags before they cost you. I'm Finn. Thanks so much for hanging out and learning with me on this explainer.